Okay. So, once again, okay, I am very grateful to have you guys join us for a Zoom on a knowledge sharing about a philosophy of health and happiness that we have been discussing and studying together. I'm particularly grateful for Ron for him having journeyed with us for I think over a year now. Okay, maybe even more than that. um, we're on this journey to discover the kind of inner awareness about ourselves that will help us come to a complete mastery of our human life and experience. Okay, and but today we have a special topic. Since recently, our master Teng Thanh Tuan of the WIT organization has been sharing a 21-day course on fullness of awareness about people. And so I would like to share that material back in English. Okay, so today we're going to focus on the idea of to be aware of people, and we're going to review in depth what it means to have a fullness of awareness. Now, if you remember, in the previous discussion, till now, we have been looking at um, our human life and experience through a rather simplistic view, right? Previously, life was kind of complicated, but in studying this philosophy, we have been able to simplify life into only four areas. There is an area of our inner being, okay? The area of our inner being, the area of our health, the area of our relationship, and the area of our finance. Okay. You can call this our house of holistic wealth or our house of holistic health. We have already studied, we spend many weeks studying our inner being. And some of us have begun to take an active participation in working on our health in terms of the morning internal body transformation exercise. Okay, and today we're going to touch upon this wall of our house of holistic health, the wall of relationship, which involve coming to a full and complete awareness and understanding of people. Okay, relationship is our relationship with people. And we're going to be exploring what it means to be aware of people and human beings. And then next week, we're going to touch upon an awareness of our finance, which include money, financial, and business and investment and all that stuff. Okay, so if you remember, let me see if I still have that picture of the house of holistic health. Otherwise, I will regenerate it. See if I still have it. Okay. Wait. Out of papers. we go through a lot of paper, especially when we do like a long weekend sharing. Okay. Okay. Where is it? Causality. We talked about love over the weekend. Okay. Don't have it with me. No problem. But it's okay. We remember that the House of our Holistic Health have 7 candles that we light up. And over here is a candle of character and our relationship. It is attached to our relationship. Okay. So we've been studying inner being, we have been studying health, and now we are going to get into more in-depth study of relationship. Because ultimately, human life and experience is made up of a bunch of relationship. Relationship with our spouse, relationship with our children, relationship with our parents, our coworker, our boss, our business partner. Ultimately, the quality of our life is revolve around the quality of our relationship with people. Okay, and so to best walk together on this journey of knowledge, we need to establish a certain linguistic convention, or standards of usage of words, so that we can speak the same language and arrive at the same understanding. Okay, so that we can speak the same language and arrive at the same understanding. And so, with the topic of today, it's about how do we come to a complete understanding of human beings, and it has to do with the idea of fullness of awareness of people. Okay, so the topic of today is fullness of awareness of people. In other words, what do we know about people? Okay, what do we know about awareness? And what does it mean to have fullness of awareness of people? Okay, what does it mean to have fullness of awareness of our inner being? We spent many weeks, okay, over a year, talking about our inner being. So we've come to a pretty good understanding of our of what it means to have our inner being. What does it mean to have fullness of awareness of our health? Okay, well, not only do we discuss our health conceptually, but we have also begun to practice physical exercises that we do every morning. So what does it mean to have fullness of awareness of relationship, which include fullness of awareness of people? Because if we can come to a fullness of awareness with people, then it makes it simple, and we will be ready to build positive, desirable relationship with people. Okay, so let's begin by writing. If you can write when you're driving, so anybody else who view this recording later, I invite you to draw with me and write with me. And we want to begin by writing this this sentence. Okay, I'm going to use this pen. We're going to say awareness of, I'm going to try that again with a different pen. So this pen is done. I'm going to retire this pen. Okay. So consider this statement. If you're not writing, you can consider this in your head. Awareness of something is reality of. Something. Okay, awareness of, let's put that in quote, is reality of. For example, to have awareness of health is to have reality of health. To have awareness of harmonious marriage relationship is to have the reality of harmonious marriage relationship. To have awareness of financial abundance is to have the reality of financial abundance. Okay? And the next statement that we want to write is full awareness of, okay, is sustainable reality of something. In other words, having full awareness of something is having sustainable reality of that thing. Having a full awareness of something is having sustainable reality of that thing. Sustainable can be enduring or lasting. Okay, having full awareness of something is to have an enduring and lasting reality of that thing. So once again, to have awareness of something is to have the reality of that thing. To have a full awareness of something is to have a sustainable reality of that thing. So we go back to the example of human life and experience. When we have a awareness of our inner being, whatever that is, we've already studied that our inner being has our mind, our emotion, our spirit. To have an awareness of our inner being or healthy inner being is to have the reality of healthy inner being, healthy mind, healthy emotion, healthy spirit. Okay, to have an awareness of happiness is to have the reality of happiness. And to have a full awareness of happiness is to have a sustainable of reality of happiness. Because you notice that sometimes we can be happy, but that happiness isn't sustainable. Right? Sometimes we have it and sometimes we don't. If our reality of something is not sustainable, then we can say that we do not have a fullness of awareness of it just yet. Okay, so to begin, we need to have an awareness of something in order to have a reality of it. And to have a fullness of awareness is to have a reality that is sustainable, enduring, and lasting. Okay? If we have never thought about, let's say, I don't know, if we have never even considered what it means to be healthy, then we can say that we do not have a reality of health. If a person has never thought about getting married and raising children, in other words, they are not aware of the concept of marriage and raising children, then you can look at the reality and you can see that they are not married and they do not raise children. Okay, and when we look at a person who has a reality of happy marriage and a reality of successful raising of children, then we can also deduce that that person has a fullness of awareness of what happiness marriage means and what successful raising of children means. That's all it is. This is just an agreement on a convention of linguistic usage of words. Okay, just as when we were children and our parents say, hey, take the cup from the table. We have to have an understanding a common understanding and awareness of what the cup is. Once we have an understanding and awareness of what the cup is, then we can simply pick up the cup. We have to understand, we have to have an awareness of what picking up means by using our hand and picking up. We have to have an awareness of what the table is. And therefore, by having an awareness of the concept of a cup, of picking it up, and then the table, then we can simply and readily pick up the cup from the table. That is just an agreement on the convention of usage of words. So here, we are trying to get to the fullness of awareness of people. And so we begin with an agreement on the convention of a linguistic usage of the word awareness. To have awareness of something is to have the reality of it. And to have a full awareness of something is to have a sustainable, enduring, and lasting reality of that thing. Does that make sense so far? Ron, what do you think? The idea or the concept of awareness and reality. It's a pretty simple concept, okay? To have awareness of something is to have the reality of it. Okay. If we can agree on this concept, then we can move on. Okay? To have awareness of something is to have the reality of it. To be fully aware of something is to have that reality be sustainable, enduring, and lasting. So we come to our human life and experience. Okay, in order to have a fullness of awareness of people, we need to understand people. We need to understand people as human beings. We need to understand human life and experience. So when it comes to human life and experience, have we all tried to take action or change our behavior if we want to achieve some goals or reach some destination, right? Have we all tried to change our behavior and change our action in order to reach a certain goal or destination, right? So if we want to begin by taking mastery of our life, for instance, typically we begin with action. We think about what I need to do. If we want to master our health, we ask, okay, what do I need to do about my health? When we think about our relationship with our spouse, our children, oftentimes we'll ask somebody, what do I need to do? In fact, when we speak to somebody, they will give us advice on what to do, on actions, okay? Actions and behavior. And when we judge somebody, when we judge another person, we look at the character. Do we not look at their actions and then we judge them, their character based on their action? Okay? So for most of the time, we base our life in actions. We change our action with the hope of changing our life. We change our behavior with the hope of reaching whatever goal or destination. But have we ever stopped and wonder, where do those actions and behaviors come from? Okay, where do our actions and behavior come from? What is the root of our actions? Okay, what is the root of our action? Because if we can find out the root of our action, then it makes it simple for us to change our actions and alter our behavior, and thereby get a different result. And so, is it not the case that our action is rooted in our thoughts? Okay, is it not our thought that give rise to our actions? And then what is the root of our thought? Where do our thought come from? Why do we think a certain way? Right? Why do we think in a certain way and not another? And if we can come to the root or the cause of our thought, then we can more easily change our thought and thereby change our action and reap the result of a different outcome in life. And so wise people have shown us that our thought is rooted in our awareness. Okay, our thoughts are rooted in our awareness. In fact, sometimes people don't even think about the actions. Have you ever noticed that? Ever notice that sometimes we take action or we behave a certain way that doesn't even come from thinking? Oftentimes, when we do something and we get a result that is undesirable. Hello, chị Kiều Anh. Good morning. Okay, good morning in Vietnam. Good evening in California, United States, and Canada. I'm very honored by your presence today, and I'm grateful for your participation. Okay, if it is safe for you to turn on your camera or draw and paint with me, please do so. Okay, please do so. We are discussing the fullness of awareness of people. Okay, so Master Thuan, our master in the philosophy on education from the root, which is a philosophy on health and happiness, have been sharing a 21-day course on fullness of awareness of people in Vietnamese, and we are doing it in English. And so we are exploring the meaning of the word awareness, the word people. In a little bit, we will talk more closely about people, but before that, we have to come to an agreement, a linguistic convention on the use of awareness and the use of the phrase fullness of awareness. Okay, because if we can agree on the language, then it will make it simple for me to walk you through and guide you through the understanding of fullness of awareness of people. And so here we are discussing our human life and experience. Okay, human life and experience is made up of our actions. Okay, our actions have consequences. They end up resulting in different outcomes in life. And if we focus on changing our action, then we can change our outcomes in life. However, those actions are rooted in thought, and the thoughts are rooted in awareness. And in many cases, sometimes we don't even think about our action. So when we are experiencing some undesirable result in life, our parents or our friends or our teacher will tell us, think about your action. Okay, they tell, think about your action. But even before we think about our action, we have to come to an awareness about what it is that we're trying to think about and what it is that we're trying to act and behave. Okay, so awareness is the root. Okay, the awareness is the seed upon which thought and actions are conceived. Okay, human life and experience are built upon social interaction, right? Our experience in life, for the most part, are built upon our social interaction with people. Okay, social interactions are actions. Okay, human social interactions are comprises of our action, and our actions and other people's actions are made up of their thoughts and then ultimately grounded in their awareness about themselves, awareness about each other. Same with ourselves. The way we interact with other people came from our thought about other people, and they came from our awareness about people. Okay, so it's actually this concept is pretty powerful, because if we want to understand human life and experience, all we got to do is understand to have an awareness about human life and experience. And if we can come to a full awareness and perception about human life and experience, then we can essentially understand all of life. Imagine that. It's that simple. All of life can be narrowed down to simply an awareness about life. How we are aware, how we become aware of that It's going to determine our thought and our action, and thereby our total reality of it. Okay? So to understand a person's behavior and action is to understand the awareness first. Right? So is it worth to learn human awareness? Is it worth it to come to a full and complete understanding of awareness and human perception? Okay. All right. So when it comes to human awareness, human life and experience, for example, when we do business with somebody, right? Doing business with somebody means an act of exchange of money with somebody, right? When we do business with somebody, it is an act of exchange of money. So how do we trust that their action will be positive and desirable with respect to money, our money, right? How can we trust somebody to behave appropriately, desirably with respect to money? Well, all we got to do is take a look at the root of their awareness about money. It's that simple. When we do business with somebody and we want to make sure that that person is trustworthy with respect to their behavior, with respect to their money, our money, then all we got to do is question whether, okay, does this person have an awareness about money? Does person have a fullness of awareness of money? Because awareness of something is the reality of it. And the full awareness of something is a sustainable, durable, and lasting reality of it. So when we speak to a business partner, and we are confident that that person has a fullness of awareness of their money and our money and the business, then we can confidently trust that person to be a good business partner, that our business with them would be sustainable and enduring and lasting. Okay? When we before we get married, for example, okay, before we get married, some people here already have a spouse, some people are still looking. But even if we have a spouse, we can kind of take a look, okay, is can we be sure that our marriage relationship is going to be lasting? Is our marriage relationship is going to be enduring and sustainable? Then all we got to do is take a look and see, okay, do I have a fullness of awareness about marriage relationship? Does my partner have a fullness of awareness about relationship? Because if both person can have a fullness of awareness of relationship, then the two spouses would experience a reality of marriage relationship that is sustainable. Okay, so when we think about marriage relationship in the society these days, people oftentimes run into trouble. They get married and then they get divorced, and then sometimes they get married and then they get divorced again. Well, then we can simply say that, yeah, those people have not come to a fullness of awareness about marriage relationship. Okay, what about our health? Okay, if we want to be healthy, in another word, if we want the reality of good health, then we need to get to the root of what it means to have a fullness of awareness of health. Okay, because if somebody's, because somebody may ask, somebody may say, okay, I'm aware of my health, but my health is poor. Okay, I'm aware of my health, but my health is poor. Or somebody say, I'm aware of my marriage relationship. I'm in a marriage relationship, but my marriage relationship is trouble. Or I'm aware of my financial situation, but my financial situation is full of debt. When a person is aware, say that they are aware of their health or their marriage or their financial situation, and all of them is negative, then all we got to say is, no, you don't actually have fullness of awareness of your reality in that aspect. If your health is poor, you do not actually have an awareness of health. In fact, you have an awareness of illness. Because if you ask that person about their health, they'll start telling you about the illness. They'll start telling you about the pain. They'll start telling you about the medicine they have to take, the surgery they have to go undergo, the doctor visit. So a person has an awareness of disease, not of their health. Same thing with a person who talks to us about the marriage relationship. When we talk about our marriage relationship and they say the marriage relationship is in trouble, well, that actually because they are more aware of the trouble, not the actual marriage relationship. Okay, they know more about the problems than what it means to have a healthy, harmonious, and happy marriage. They simply do not have an awareness of happy marriage. Same thing with raising our children. When a person complains about their children and they're using negative words, they have negative inner state, they have negative feelings, then we can say that, sorry, you don't actually have an awareness of what it means to raise your children yet. All you have is the problems. And so our action is positive or negative. It is desirable or desirable. If our actions and behavior, if our feelings and emotion is not positive, then we can say that we are not fully aware just yet. Okay. In other words, if our action is not positive or not desirable, the outcome of our life is not desirable, then we can say that, oh, you haven't fully thought out, right? You haven't fully thought out yet. And if you haven't fully thought out your situation, that means you're not fully aware just yet. Okay. Okay. So, same thing with our financial abundance. Some people work all their lives and they struggle and they work hard. But when they think about their financial situation, they don't think about what it means to be financially abundant. They only think about what it means to work hard to pay off debt. In that case, we say that you do not have awareness of financial abundance just yet. Okay? Because to be aware of something is to have the reality of it. Okay? If you are very aware of the negative aspect of your life, then guess what? That is your reality. And your reality is comprised of all the negative things. So I'll say that again. Because of awareness of something is to have the reality of it. If you are only aware of the negative and undesirable aspect of life, that means your life is undesirable and negative. Does that make sense? Okay, so we are going to explore what it means to be unaware of something, what it means to be aware of something, and what it means to be fully aware of something. Because the root of not aware, the root of aware, the root of being fully aware is through our action, through our thoughts. Okay, and our actions and our thought and our awareness will give rise to the kind of outcome that we have. Okay, so this will bring us to a more in-depth understanding of awareness. Okay, so if you have a chance to write things down, please go ahead and write down with me. We're going to go deeper into what it means to have awareness. Always keep in mind the idea is that to have awareness of something is to have the reality of it. And to have a fullness of awareness and to have means to have a reality that is sustainable, enduring, and lasting. Okay? Right. Keep in mind that awareness of a person will determine their thoughts and their behavior or their actions, which will in turn create the reality or the outcome in life. So before getting to fullness of awareness of a person, okay, let's come to a fullness of awareness itself. Okay, so we're becoming aware of awareness itself, because awareness directs our thought and our thought direct our action, and therefore awareness is the root of human life and experience. Okay, so as part of the philosophy of education from the root, we explore what is the root cause of human life and experience. The root cause of human life and experience is the inner awareness. in each of our individual human being, right? The root cause of our life and experience is our inner awareness. In the previous episode of this channel, in the past many weeks, we have been studying the root cause of human life and experience by looking at our inner awareness, by looking at the seed within us, okay, through three standard reference systems. Okay, does anybody here remember what those are? Three standard reference systems. We look at the inner seed of human beings through the perspective of the worldly perspective, the scientific perspective called the root cause formula. All right, the formula for the root cause of life. We look at the inner seed. We look at our inner awareness with respect to human life and experience from the lens of the worldly view or the scientific perspective. We also look at our inner seed, our inner awareness through the lens of religion and spirituality. Okay, and we also look at the seed of our inner awareness through the lens of common sense morality. Okay, and if you have not had a chance to explore in depth those three reference systems, if I'm talking here and you don't really have any idea what that means, I recommend you go back to my channel and you review the previous material. Okay, when we talk, there's some of the episode talk about the three standard reference system, or you just go back from episode 1 of season 3. Okay, you see like S03 and then E01. That is season 3, episode 1, and we will begin to share with you what it means to look at our inner seed of our inner awareness of what it means to be a human being from each of those three standard reference systems. But nevertheless, even if you are here for the first time, we're going to try to bring you up to speed. Okay, we're going to try to help you come to a fullness of awareness about awareness, and then ultimately an awareness about human beings and people using those three standard reference systems. So let me just quickly recall those three standard reference systems. So the three standard reference systems that we use in this philosophy to help us come to a complete and full understanding of human life and experience from a scientific perspective, the worldly perspective. We have a formula that gives us mental images. Okay, in other words, the root cause within each of us, the inner seed within us, that seed would give rise to our external reality. Okay, our inner seed that give rise to our external reality are the mental images. Okay, and then that's from the scientific perspective. From a common sense reality perspective, we have what's called the source concept. Okay, the source concept. Whereas the kind of mental images that we hold about anything, whether it's happiness or relationship or money or raising children or business or finance, any mental images that we hold is the seed from which we grow and we will bear fruit of that seed. If our mental images about people and relationship are positive, then our reality about people and relationship are also positive. If our mental images about raising children are positive, then our reality of raising children will also be positive. If our mental images about finance, money, and business are positive, then our reality in finance, money, and business are also positive. Okay? And then the source concept. Similarly, if our source concept is favorable, then our life reality will also be favorable. If our source concept is negative, then our life outcome is going to be negative. Our source concept is made up of what we know, what we believe, and what we understand. We'll go in detail about that later, or if you just review the other episode. But if our source concept is favorable, then our outcome in life will also be favorable. So we can kind of go back and take a look, okay, as we have grown up, from the time that we were young to the time we become adult. We have come into contact with many different concepts. If at this point, any areas of our life, whether it's our inner being, our emotion, our mind, our spirit, or our health, or our relation, or our financial status, if any of those areas in life is unfavorable, or is undesirable, or is negative, we can safely say that at some point in our life, we have been accumulating and cultivating unfavorable source concept about those areas of life. Okay, let's take a moment to let that sink in. If our marriage is undesirable at this point, there's trouble, then guess what? At some point in our life, we have been accumulating source concept that is undesirable and unfavorable. Okay? If our health is in trouble, well, guess what? We have been cultivating and accumulating source concept that is unfavorable to good health. Okay? And similarly, if our financial situation is undesirable at this point, then we know that sometime in the past, we have been accumulating concept about finance that is unfavorable. And then we look at the third system of reference that takes on more of a religious or spiritual dimension. Okay? And we call those the states of inner being. Okay? I just spell it out, state of inner being. But you could call it inner state. Okay? These are terminology from the inner being course. So state of inner being, or our inner state. Okay, let's take a look. When we mention anything, let's say we mention our relationship with our spouse. If our inner state is negative, then guess what? That also reflects our current reality with respect to our relationship. If our when we think about our spouse and our inner state is negative, okay, inner state involves negative emotion, negative thought, negative mindset, then we can say that our reality in that area is negative. But if we think about our spouse and we feel positive, we think positive, if our inner state is positive, then guess what? Yeah, that is our reality. Our reality of that relationship is positive. When we think about our children, okay, what is our inner state? Do we worry about them? Do we have anxiety? Are we depressed and disappointed in our children? Well, guess what? Our inner state reflects our reality with respect to our relationship with our children. But if we think about our children and we have hope, we have confidence, we have a degree of pride, we have joy, we have balanced inner peace when we think of our children, then guess what? Our relationship with our children, or our reality of raising children, is also positive and balanced. Okay? When we think about our finance, our business, our investment strategies, do we have fear and anxiety? Do we worry of the market collapse? Or do we feel a sense of hope, inspiration, or simply balance, confident that everything will work out fine? Well, guess what? Our financial reality reflects our inner state, or the state of our inner being. Okay? So basically, these three reference systems help us look at the reality of life from the deepest core of our inner being. And once we can go to work on mastering the inner seed within us, then we can in turn master our external reality. That's pretty powerful, don't you think? If you can master your mental images about your relationship, about your health, about your finance, about your whole being, then you can master your external reality with respect to our relationship, our health, and our whole being. If we can master the source concept and make that favorable, then our external reality will also be favorable. And if we can master our inner state, our emotion, our mind, our spirit, with respect to any areas of life, our health, our family, relationship, raising children, happiness, then our external reality will also reflect that inner state. Pretty simple, huh? Pretty simple, pretty powerful as well. Okay, so we're going to apply those three standard reference system to awareness about awareness. Okay, in order to help us come to an awareness about awareness, and then furthermore come to a fullness of awareness about awareness. Okay, so let's split this up. If we are, let's see, let's use some color. Let's use okay, awareness. Okay, so when earlier we said that, you know, when a person has a negative inner state, okay, we simply say that you are unaware. Okay, when a person is unaware, then their inner state is negative. Okay, gonna use the symbol negative inner state. Okay, negative inner state. When a person think about happiness, okay, and the inner state, instead of being happy, it's actually negative. Or they have thoughts such as happiness is an illusion, happiness is not for me. That's negative. And all we gotta say is you don't have an awareness of happiness just yet. Okay, when a person think about their spouse and all they feel is resentment and blame, or they say that marriage is for fools. Okay, don't get married. And people tell me don't get married. Okay, well then we can say that they don't have an awareness, or they are unaware of the reality of marriage. Okay, if they do have a reality of marriage, then they have we say that they are aware. Okay, if you have an awareness, or if you're aware, then your inner state, let's use a pretty color to reflect that. So our inner state is positive. Okay, if we think about our spouse, oh, and we're joyful and we're grateful and we feel so magnanimous with respect to our spouse, then guess what? We are aware of the reality of a healthy relationship with our spouse. When we think about investment, and instead of fearing losses, we are very hopeful. We're confident that the market will do well, that we will do well. Then we say that you are aware of investment, that you have a reality of financial well-being. Okay, when we think about raising children, and we are confident and hopeful, we think we have pride in our children. Okay, we are magnanimous toward our children. We are grateful for having children. Then we say that you have an appropriate awareness about raising children. So our inner state is positive when we have an awareness of something. Okay, this is a linguistic convention that we need to agree on in order to walk together on this journey of discovery and therefore mastery of our human life and experience. Okay, to awareness is positive inner state. Okay, and of course, what we really want to get to is fullness of awareness, or we simply say here, fully aware. Okay, to be fully aware of something, okay, to be fully aware of something is we apply these three standard reference systems. We apply the mental images, we apply the source concept, we apply the state of inner being or inner state. If our mental images of something is positive, okay, positive, and if our source concept of something is favorable, also positive, and if our inner state is balanced and positively oriented. Balanced and positively oriented. When our inner state is balanced and positively oriented, and if our source concept is favorable, if our mental images about something is positive, then we say that we have fullness of awareness of that concept. Okay? Positive, balanced, and positively oriented. I'm going to use this symbol, balance, positive together. Okay? The reason is it's not possible for human being to be perpetually positive all the time. It is not possible to be perpetually positive all the time. In fact, if you go too positive, you may swing to negative. So what we do, and in the teaching on the inner being, what we do is we learn to rotate between positive and balance. We don't let it go negative. We go positive and we go back to balance. And when needed, we go positive in order to move forward, and then we go back to balance. Maintaining a state of inner balance and positively oriented is the key to having the reality of life that is enduring and lasting and sustainable. Okay, if it goes negative, we're going to lose out. If it's too positive, it'll swing back to negative. So we maintain a degree of balance and positively oriented. And so to be fully aware of something, once again, we have these three criteria that we want to maintain. Okay, we want to make sure that from a source concept, we have a favorable source concept. Okay, that's also plus. Favorable source concept. From a scientific perspective, from the mental image perspective, we want to maintain positive mental images in mind. Okay, begin all things with the seed of positive mental image. Okay, we can begin, from the scientific method, begin with a hypothesis, the end in mind, the outcome in mind, right? All science will begin with hypothesis with the end result. Okay, and that result is usually positive, right? They want to achieve something, and then they go back and they set up an experiment from step one and arrive at the conclusion that matches that hypothesis, that positive result. So we borrow the scientific method in order to create the kind of life that we want, the kind of human life and experience that we want by planting and beginning with the seed of positive mental images in mind. And there's a process by which we can use we can arrive at the reality that matches those positive mental images. Okay. And then there's a third corner in our reference system, our inner state. We're going to use the symbol together with this symbol, balance, inner state. Okay, balance, inner state. This is a powerful one, actually, because think about it. Let's say the difference between a marathon runner and a person who's never run a marathon and a person who wants to learn and is about to learn. A person who has never run a marathon and has a negative inner state of running marathon, we say that person doesn't have an awareness of what it means to run a marathon yet. They have a negative inner state. A person who is interested in running a marathon and beginning to practice and train for it, generally, they have an inner state that's positive. They're very hopeful. They have trust. They have belief that at some point, they even have a certain degree of positive mental image about running a marathon. They go to work on accumulating and cultivating favorable source concept about running a marathon. But it is not until their inner state is totally balanced that they actually have the reality of running a marathon. Because you look at a person, a marathon runner who has already run a marathon, a marathon winner, a champion, right? When we talk to them about a marathon, they don't need to feel very hopeful. They don't need to feel too excited. They are balanced because it's already part of their reality. Get it? When you have an inner state that is balanced, that is because it is already part of your reality. Same thing when we think about making money, right? For some people, let's say they set a goal of, let's say, want to be rich, and they have negative inner state about being rich. They say rich is, money is for evil people or whatever, right? Money is evil. Well, that means, guess what? Their reality is pretty poor financially. On the other hand, a person who has a positive inner state with respect to money, they're very inspiring. They feel very motivated. They're inspired. They are confident, and they're working to accumulate money. They have awareness of money. And we look at the reality, okay, yeah, they have some degree of reality with respect to money. But if we look at the really, really, really wealthy people, the person who has a fullness of the source concept of how to make money, what to do to accumulate money, what to do to maintain money, what to do to spread money around. And they have a positive, clear mental image about money. They know what to do with it. They have a meaningful use of money. And essentially, they are not all excited. They just know exactly what to do because it is already part of their reality. Okay? Same thing with our marriage, our children. Inner state is balanced, then we already have the reality. Why somebody asks me about marriage, I'm like, I'm already married. Yeah, I am very positive. Okay. At the same time, I'm balanced. Okay. So the idea of an inner state that is balanced and positive is a powerful one. We want to get to that state, along with having full, clear, favorable source concept, full, clear mental image about something, meaning that we are fully aware of that concept. We are fully aware of it. And at that moment, in that instant, we look around and we say, oh, wait, that is my reality. If I don't have it yet, then you can go to work on making your source concept more favorable, accumulated more mental images, and get to this inner state that is positive, balanced, and positively oriented. So I have a comment from one of our participation. Okay, so Ms. Kiwan said, this morning I feel I have a little negative inner state. Okay, so GQ1, would you like to share about that? And what areas of life are you experiencing negative inner state? And would you like any assistance in making it positive or balanced? GQ1, are you able to speak up, or you can just type a little bit more and see if we can discuss on your behalf? I appreciate you sharing and yourself, and I'm honored by your participation. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for your hard work, for your warm heart. Today is my birthday, but
To
I
you, what
up
day?
to now, yeah, but up to now, I didn't see my son sending me any wishes. So in my
Oh,
heart,
okay. Oh yeah, I say
right?
I say
I
okay,
right
okay,
the negative state, right?
okay, okay,
The
okay.
negative state, right? Come to me. So I must struggle myself. Maybe
Mm.
he busy, right? Maybe he busy. Maybe the end of the day he will say something. That means maybe I put my heart to my children. So I wish it to many things, right? It's the reason why when the early day in my birthday, he didn't send me anything. So my electricity in my body, right, in my heart, uh, come lower, lower, right. That
Okay.
is
Yeah.
my feeling in this morning. But I struggle myself
Okay. Okay.
for
Yeah.
balance, right? For balance, right?
Okay. Yeah. So
Thank you
so
for the hearing.
right. So at the moment of feeling negative about your say your son, right? Okay. At
Yeah,
the moment, feeling negative about your son not saying happy birthday, then
yeah,
we can safely say that you do not have an awareness. Okay, that we can safely say that you not do not have a full awareness about your relationship with your son.
yeah,
It's important. Doesn't say anything about the son. Okay, we didn't say anything about
yeah.
our son. There's not, we're not judging
Right.
the son, it's good or bad. We're not.
I know. I'm sorry. I know the relationship. Me and my son with me is not too bad, but with
Okay.
him not so happy. The reason why I'm very strict to him, right?
Mhm.
Now
Yeah.
he's an adult, but right, I still strict to him because in my heart, in my mind, so he is a man, so he must be lived as a man, right? So a man, the standard of a man in align with me very high. That's the reason why when I put my desire in him too much, so I feel
Mhm.
disappointed, and he feels stressful, right? But uh,
Okay,
but now
that's
I
great.
drop it.
Okay, so thank you so much for sharing your heart with us. Okay, what you're talking about
Thank you.
is desire and expectation. Okay,
Yeah,
that is a topic on understanding human nature. Okay, so
yeah,
part of this sharing it at some point we will explore in depth human nature. We will explore the nature of desire. We will explore the nature of expectation and identity, and we will discover that human nature fluctuate between positive and negative. Okay, and once we come to understand about human nature, not only human nature but our true nature, and we will get into our true nature in a little bit. Once we can grasp our true nature as human being, then we can begin to do this. We can begin to fill ourselves with favorable source concept. We can begin to fill ourselves with positive mental images, and then we can begin to balance our inner state. And from then, once we discover that truth within us, our true nature, our reality with another person, with anybody else, will change in the direction of our desire. Would you be interested in discovering our human nature, especially our true nature? Okay. Okay. Hang on give me a one moment. I need to close the door because my kids are making some noise. Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so we understand this idea of awareness, okay? To be fully aware of something, to have a completeness of awareness, a fullness of awareness is to have favorable source concept, to have positive mental images, and to have a balanced and positively oriented inner state. Okay. Okay. And so okay, so instead of if we ever experience any undesirable outcome in life. Okay. Instead of wondering why our life is bad or our life is undesirable, we simply come back to this definition of awareness. We simply become aware that we are not yet fully aware about our reality in that aspect of life. Okay, so with GQ1, if your relationship with your son is not as desirable as you want, right? We don't need to say that it's bad. We don't need to say that we are bad. We simply go back and say, okay, I am not fully aware of my relationship of my with my son just yet. Okay, and here's the thing: sometimes in the past we have a certain reality that is positive and desirable, but no longer. Sometime in the past we may have been financially rich, but no longer. Sometime in the past, we may have had wonderful relationship with a spouse, but no longer. Sometime in the past, we may have had a wonderful relationship with our children, but no longer. If that's the case, we can't say that I used to have an awareness, but I don't have an awareness anymore. Okay. You can't say that I used to have an awareness, but awareness is not something that you used to have and then you lose it and then you have to reacquire it. Awareness is a state of being in the present. Awareness is always a state of being in the present. We always look at the present at this moment, in this now. In fact, we cannot live in the past. Okay? We cannot be aware of the past. Anything that we experience as the past is nothing but a memory trace that we call a memory. But we are not experiencing the past. Okay, the past is just, as far as we're concerned, it's just a memory trace. Our awareness reside in this present moment. So we look at this present moment, and if our life in any areas of our life, our relationship, our finance, our health, if it is not positive and desirable just yet, then we simply go to work on the source concept, the mental images, and reach a state of balance and positive inner state. Okay. And so let me see. Let me check with my note real quick. Okay, so we agree on this linguistic convention. And in order to go about making ourselves fully aware of any areas of life, we are going to operate on the following formula. Okay, it is a simple formula based on the law of cause and effect, or the law of causality. Okay, the formula is as follows. Good inner deed plus favorable condition equals desirable life outcome. Okay, good inner seed plus favorable conditions equals desirable life outcome. That is a formula that is based on the law of cause and effect. If the effect or the outcome is a life that is desirable, we're going to need to plant some good seed, which is the cause of it. Okay, and in between there is a set of conditions upon which we plant those seed in order for the seed to grow and bear fruit, and the fruit be desirable life outcome. And here, the good inner seed, since we are talking about awareness, our good inner seed is the inner awareness. Okay? Inner awareness. The favorable condition upon we plant our inner awareness is our, we call it, let's say, affinity, which stands for our attraction to people, with people. Okay? And if we have a good inner awareness, a positive inner awareness about ourselves, if we have favorable source concept, if we have positive mental images of if our inner state is balanced and positive, and we combine it with positive affinity with people, then that will bear fruit, giving us a life reality that is sustainable. Right? Would you like your relationship with your son to be enduring and lasting? Instead of being good today and then bad tomorrow, would you like to have a reality of a relationship with your children that is good and continue to be good down the line forever and ever? So this is the formula of causality. We take the good inner seed within ourselves, which is the inner awareness. We put that into a favorable condition, which is our positive affinity with people. And then what we're going to get, oops, sorry, this is an equal sign, okay? What we're going to get is sustainable life reality, okay? You know why? Because, as we were children, right, we were given certain concepts, okay? Concepts such as mom and dad, concepts such as a cup on a table. Certain things are dangerous, certain things are safe. But nobody ever gave us a favorable source concept about what it means to have a sustainable, enduring life, human life and experience. Notice that? Because we have not been given a favorable source concept about human life and experience, we're not experiencing a desirable and sustainable life reality. We have no awareness about what it means
Vậy
to.
nói cái gì lên Tôn? Bạn rộng với đàn hai phải không?
Okay. So because nobody has ever given us a positive source concept about what it means to have a life reality that is sustainable and desirable, we can simply say that we do not have a awareness about sustainable life reality, positive, sustainable life reality. Okay, let's add the word positive. Okay, in fact, as we grow up, oftentimes we accumulate and cultivate negative images, negative source concept about life. Right? People tell us that life is suffering. People say that life is hard. That happiness is an illusion. Marriage 50% of marriages end up in divorce. Well, guess what? All of those are negative mental images. All of those are unfavorable source concept. And guess what? It is reflective in our present reality right now. And so we go back to the seed. We go back to the inner awareness. We plant new seed, new positive source concept, new positive mental image. And we get ourselves to a state of balance and positive inner state so that we eventually will be able to reap the fruit of a life that is positive and balanced and desirable and enduring and lasting and sustainable. Okay? So there's a promise of this interaction. Okay? The promise of this interaction, this knowledge sharing, is that at the end of our knowledge sharing and human interaction with one another, we will come to a fullness of awareness of people. Okay? Fullness of awareness of people. But before that, we will also need to go to work on planting this seed. We need to come to a fullness awareness of our inner awareness about the seed within us. Okay? And we're going to discover what it means to be a human being, what it means to have human nature, what it means to discover our true nature. Okay, so first, let's take a look at people. Do we agree that people are human beings? Okay, human beings. Human beings. Okay. Other people are human beings. We are a human being. Okay. Let's just, yeah, okay. People are human beings. We ourselves are human beings. In general, certain concept that we have come across and familiar with could be the body. Okay. At some point, we're going to take a look at what it means to have a human body. As a human being, we have things like emotion. As a human being, and other people as human being have the mind. And here, we're going to discover that deep inside the body, deep inside beyond the emotion, deep beyond the mind, there is the core being. Okay, we will discover what that means in terms of our core being. We will take a look at human nature. Here, I'm going to put that human nature in plural, and we're going to reference 16 human nature. Okay, called human natures. And beyond, deep inside, beyond the human nature, we're going to discover something called our true nature. Okay, we're going to discover our true nature as human being. Upon studying human being, we're going to learn wisdom is something that is an innate part of human being. We're going to learn about attitude, which is an innate part of human being. We're going to discover what it means to have character, to be a human being of character, of good, wholesome, refined character. We're going to take a look at our human beings' capability. We even look at our physical vitality. We tie all of that with the concept of integrity. What does it mean to be a human being of integrity? which composes of virtues and quality that make a person of integrity. From a more spiritual dimension, we look even deeper at the concept of spiritual fortune, good, bad fortune. As human beings, why do some people encounter good fortune? Why some people seem to attract bad fortune? Okay. We will look at causality of human being in terms of our knowledge, total causal knowledge. We'll look at our total causal affinity with other people. Just as some human beings experience good fortune or bad fortune, some human beings experience positive and negative affinity with other people. And of course, what we ultimately want is a total causal outcome of life that is desirable, positive, and sustainable. Okay? So basically, the step one is to become fully aware of ourselves as human beings. Step two, we become fully aware about other people as human beings. And ultimately, how we relate to them as human being with human being. By understanding ourselves, our inner seed, we understanding our affinity with other people, the condition, the seed and the condition. Then we can take full ownership of our human life and experience. Okay, and then we can be master of our own life. Okay, would it be, would you like to take full ownership of your inner being in order to take full mastery of your human life and experience? Right? Would you be interested in being a master of your inner being, of your mind, your emotion, of your spirit? Would you be interested in being a master of your own body? Okay, your own health? Would you like to be a master of your marriage relationship with your children, with your co-worker? Okay, would you like to be the master of your own money? So we're going to understand human being, and by taking ownership of our understanding of human being, we are going to be able to master our entire life. Okay, so to fully master our human life and experience, we need to understand the deepest part of our being, our core being, which is our true nature. Okay, there is something called the truth within us. Okay, our true nature. By coming to awareness of the truth within us, human beings, we will come to master human life and experience. Okay, consider that statement. By coming to full awareness of the truth within us, human beings, we will come to master human life and experience. And in order for me to walk you through the process of recognizing and understanding the truth within us human being, we need to once again agree on certain foundational concepts. Okay, just as when we were children, our parents say, "Hey, pick up the cup." We had a mutual understanding of what the cup is, and from then we know what the cup is. We know how to pick it up, and then our life is, goes on from there. But as we grew up, we also took in unfavorable source concept. So our life experience is unfavorable. So we're going to go back and re-establish some fundamental source concept that at its very beginning is favorable for our life and experience. Okay, so fortunately, there are wise people, sages, who have already mastered their life and experience. They have already maintained consistency, sustainability, enduring and lasting relationship with themselves and with other people. in life. Okay, they have a reality that is sustainable, and they give us a certain foundational concept upon which we can be human. Okay, so we have a simple but powerful statement given to us by those successful masters and sages. And I invite you to write this statement down. Okay, write this statement down. The truth is something that does not change over space and time. Okay, the truth is something that does not change over space and time. The truth is something that does not change over space and time. In other words, if something changes over space and time, it's not the truth. Okay, if something that changes over space and time, it is not the truth. It's a simple yet powerful statement that if we can fully grasp it, we will fully master our human life and experience. Okay? The truth is something that does not change over space and time. Look at this house. Does this house change over space and time? It changed. Look at this body. Does our body change over space and time? It too changes. And so we cannot say that this house is true, nor we can say that this body is true. Okay? There's no such thing as a true house or no such thing as a true body. Does our relationship change? Our relationship changes over space and time. Okay? And so we can say things like love, right? Does love change over space and time? Yeah, love change. When we first meet somebody and we fall in love, our love takes on a certain form, certain feelings, certain sensation. And as we spend more time with another person, maybe we get married, our love changes. Our love changes over space and time. And so there is no such thing as true love by this definition. Okay, there's no such thing as true love, but that doesn't mean that love doesn't endure. We will learn how to make life love enduring. Okay, doesn't mean that there's no such thing as everlasting love. There is just no such thing as true love. There's unconditional love, there's eternal love, there's parental love, different kinds of love. Okay, but the truth is something that does not change. The truth is something that does not change. And the sages, the same sages that give us this statement, also point to us that deep within our core being as human being, we have a certain truth that does not change over space and time. Okay, just as when we were children and our parent said to pick up the cup from the table, that's just a concept that we agree with our parent that that's a cup. That is the idea of picking up, and that's the table. We simply just listen and we just absorb it until we are able to interact with our parent, and so we have a simple life. If we simply just take this statement for granted and simply accept that the truth is something that does not change over space and time, and we use it, we will be able to experience the same kind of life that the masters, the sages, and the wise people have experienced. Fortunately, those of us, we are mostly adult. And we are adult, we also have an analytical mind, and we want to understand. We don't have to understand, but to understand it will also help us as human beings come to a fuller awareness of it, and thereby making full use of it. Okay, so the truth is something that does not change.
Integrity.
Hello? When you're looking up the word integrity, you will not find it in the Vietnamese sharing. Okay, the WIT organization does not teach that word, but I teach it in English. If you want to understand integrity, you will have to go over and look at some of my previous sharing on phẩm chất. Okay, phẩm chất means virtue or quality, and I define a person of outstanding quality or a person of outstanding virtue as a person of integrity. And integrity is a word that means a state of being whole, perfect, and complete. It is synonymous with the idea of being fully aware of your inner being. Okay, that's just a side note. Anyway, in order to be a person of integrity or a person of outstanding virtue and quality, we need to get this part first. Okay, the truth is something that does not change over time. And let's take a look deep inside our being as human being, what that truth look like. Those of you who have already studied this material, I recommend that you draw it again. Okay, and those of you who have not studied this before, I also recommend you take the time to draw along with me. And when we draw the what's called the human construct, also known as a map of the human nature, pointing to the truth of our nature, pointing to our true nature, I recommend that you draw it and practice drawing it, 20 times, 200 times, okay? As you draw it, the map will become imprinted in your mind and you will be able to use it, okay? You will obtain mastery over it. Okay, so begin with the following word. Will. Okay? So the sages have taught us that human being, deep inside the core of our being, we have something called the will. And the will turns out to be something that does not change over space and time. The will is something that makes human being human being. If this changed, then we're not human being, we're something else. Okay? Okay? Different religion uses different words for this thing. Different religion use different word for this concept of the will. Christianity may call it the soul. The Hindu call it the manas. Vietnamese word for that is ý. Okay? But the will is something that does not change over space and time. Okay? And the will manifests in terms of the will to hear, the will to see, the will to say, the will to know. Okay? These make up of the human faculty. The will to hear, the will to say, see, the will to say, the will to know. Say can be replaced with the word speak, the word to speak. Okay, let's use the word speak. Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's use the word speak. Okay, I'll change that. So we have the will to hear, the will to see, the will to speak, and the will to know. Wrapped up in an aura of highly balanced, highly energized electromagnetic light. The will to hear, the will to see, the will to speak, the will to know, wrapped up in an aura of light. This is called the light of our inner being. This is also called as our core being. Another word for that is our true self, or another word for that is our true nature. Okay. Later on, we will learn about the human nature surrounding this core being. But for now, the word we want to use is true nature. Okay. And this true nature is something that does not change over space and time. Okay. That's an important concept to grasp. Our true nature is something that does not change over space and time. The will to hear, the will to see, the will to speak, and the will to know does not change over space and time. If it changed, then it's not the truth. It's not true, our true nature. It's something else. Okay? And to come to a full awareness of this, we need to make a distinction between what we hear, what we see, versus the will to hear and the will to see. What we hear and see change. Okay? For example, if I close my eye, then the image that I see change. When I open my eye, I see Ron, I see Kiều Oanh, I see Bùi Thị Nga, I see Lê Thị Giáng Tiên. When I close my eye, I don't see those images, so they change. What I see change. But the will to hear, the will to see does not change. When I close my eye, I still see. Okay? I may not see an image, but I may see darkness. Okay? But even if I don't have eyes, I still see. In fact, the seeing may change. The seeing may change. Okay? The act of seeing may change. But the will to see, another way of looking at this will is to write down this word for me. I want you to write down this word. Already, always. It's a conjunction. It is one word. Already, always. Let's do that on another sheet. Let's do this. Make it shorter. Okay, do this. Already, always. Okay, make that prettier. One more. Okay, practicing writing as I go. Already, always. Already, always. Seeing. The hearing comes first. Okay, that's fine. Already, always seeing, already hearing, already, always speaking, and already, always knowing. Okay? The will to hear, the will to see, the will to speak, the will to know is the already, always seeing, already, always hearing, already, always speaking, already, always knowing. Because it is already always there, it does not change. And because it does not change over space and time, it is the truth within us. Okay, so everyone, these are called the truth within us. Okay, or true nature, our true nature. In other words, is our true self. Okay, Buddhist people call it the Buddha nature. If you want, Buddha nature. In Christianity, the logos, will of God. Okay, if you want to get religious. Okay, in the Bible, it says In the beginning, there was the logos, the will. And the will speak. Let there be light. And there was light. The will speak. Let there be light. And there was light. That is a Christian reference. But important is that we get to understand this true nature, because this true nature is always there. It is already always hearing, already always seeing, already always speaking, and already always knowing. And it does not change. And because it does not change, it does not fluctuate. That's an important point to make. Because it does not change, it does not fluctuate between positive or negative. Our human nature fluctuates between positive and positive and negative. Earlier, somebody mentioned expectation and desire. We will learn later how our expectation and desire fluctuate between positive and negative. When it's negative, we experience life as undesirable. When it's positive, we experience life as desirable. But our true nature, our core being, our true self, our logos, does not change. Because it does not change, it does not go not negative, or it does not go positive, and therefore it is balanced. Okay? Because it does not change, it does not go positive or negative, it is balanced. And if we can take refuge in anything at all in this life, if we can take refuge in anything in the sea of life, in the storm of life, so to speak. Right? Life has so many complications, so many problems, so many challenges. Our mind, our emotion often go positive and negative. What can we take refuge in that will give us a consistent and enduring and sustainable reality? Right? What can we take refuge in? Imagine being in the sea, and the sea is up and down, and the storm and hurricane and wind. What can we take refuge in to be safe and secure and balanced and stable? Well, fortunately, wise people have pointed us to this island of safety called our true self. Our true self, the will to hear, the will to see, the will to speak, the will to know, does not change. And it is already always there. At any moment in time, we can take refuge in that will to hear, the will to see, the will to speak, and the will to know. What we hear and what we see change. Those are the turbulence of life. Yeah. What we hear, what we see, those are the turbulence. Those are the wave, those are the storm. Those are the positive and negative things that we encounter. Those are the source of our pain and suffering. But what can we take refuge in? We take refuge into this inner core, which does not change. So whenever we experience a circumstance or some person say something, or we experience some fact or message, and we take refuge in the fact that I'm already always hearing, already always seeing, then we can reach a state of balance. Okay? We return to our true self. If we become aware of that state of already always hearing and already always seeing. So we can even practice right now. You may be listening or watching me speak, but instead of focusing on what I say or focusing on what you see, just focus on the fact that you are already always hearing and they're already always seeing. Just kind of step back and notice, okay, I'm hearing, I'm seeing, and that's it. Don't judge what you're saying, what you're hearing. Simply notice the hearing and the saying, and notice that it is always there. And if you can just notice that you're already always seeing and already always hearing, then you don't let what you see and what you hear take effect. You don't let the positive or negative charges of the message influence your being. And you can return to the state of balance. And the benefit of that is calmness and serenity. That is our true self. That is our true nature, the nature of balance. It is also the nature of emptiness, because there's no emotion, no thought associated with any positive or negative images. When we see an image, just notice, okay, I see an image, I see. Don't even say I see an image, because seeing an image is a use of our mind. We'll talk about our mind later. Just notice that we are hearing and we're seeing. Okay, does anybody get that so far? This is called our true nature. And this is the most precious thing that human beings have. And it is always there. We can always take refuge in it. It is the island amidst the sea, a storm. The truth that never changes. The Bible has a statement that saying, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Okay, you can repeat that. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Oftentimes, do we find ourselves being trapped by the chains of our emotions and the burdens of our thought? Okay, the chain of our emotion and the burden of our thought. And if our thought is negative, if our emotion is negative, then our whole being goes down in negative. And we already learned earlier from the definition of awareness is when our inner state is negative, we do not have any awareness. When we think about our spouse and our inner state is negative, then we don't have an awareness about our spouse. When we think about our children, if our thought is negative, then we don't have an awareness about our children. When we think about our money and our inner state is negative, then we do not have an awareness of our money. And if we do not have an awareness of our money, that means we do not have the reality of money. We do not have reality of relationship with our spouse. We do not have a reality of relationship with our children. Being positive is good. That means we're getting there. Okay, being positive is good. But we're not there until we actually balance. When our inner state is completely balanced, neither positive nor negative. When somebody talk about spouse, we're balanced. Okay, I already have a spouse. I have no problem. And if I need to go anywhere, I go positive. When somebody talk about finance, I'm balanced because I already have money. I already have finance. If I have to go anywhere, I go positive, make more money. When somebody talk about our health, we go to a state of balance. How do we go to a state of balance? Simply know that we are hearing and know that we are seeing. Because the already always hearing and the already always seeing is always there. It does not change over space and time. Okay, and if we can take refuge in the already always hearing and already always seeing without being attached to what we hear, what we see, then we will reach that state of balance called serenity. It is a state of peace that human beings have been searching for last million years. But fortunately for us, the wise people who have already experienced this state of being, it's given us a very simple definition that the truth is something that does not change over space and time. And as human beings, we have our true self which is deep within us, and that true self does not change over space and time. Our body changes. We grow old, we die. But something remains. Something remains before we have this body and after we have this body. Every religion can attest to that. And if we take refuge in that, then we can get to a state of balance. We can experience peace. Okay. And from the state of balance and state of peace, whatever action or thought that comes next, okay, this is where the value comes from. We don't just stay in balance and emptiness. We get nothing done. But if we have the foundation, if our inner seed, if our inner awareness begin with a state of emptiness and balance, then first of all, we don't let our inner state go negative, right? We are already protecting ourselves from negativity by maintaining and recognizing the truth within us, which is balance. Then when we achieve a state of balance in the inner being, in our core being, then the next thought and the next behavior that we initiate can take a direction of positivity. They can be positively oriented. That is why we say when you have a fullness of awareness of something, then you have an inner state that is balanced and positive. Is it more simple to go positive when you're balanced than to try to go positive when you're negative? Right? If we're heading downhill really fast, it's gonna be hard to turn around and go uphill. Right? It's like driving, right? You're going downhill so fast, you're driving down really fast, and you want to go uphill. It's really hard to stop and then go back up. But if you're already, let's say, at a balanced level, then it's a simple matter to turn the car and go uphill. Yeah. So the benefit of recognizing and becoming aware of our true nature, the nature of the already always hearing and the already always seeing, the benefit of that is that when we are balanced, it becomes simple to go positive. When we are balanced, we can initiate the desire, and our desire will be positive instead of negative. When we think about our relationship with our spouse, we begin at a state of balance. And then the next thought, we can simply choose a positive thought. On the other hand, if we're already negative, it's going to be hard to change our thought to positive, right? Just think about anything that gives you negative state. It's hard to change the negative state to positive state. If you're angry, people tell you don't be angry. Right? It's going to be hard to not be angry or even be joyful. But if we maintain a state of emptiness and balance, then we can simply change our thought and ultimately our behavior and ultimately our external reality to be positive and desirable. Does that make sense? Because this formula of causality, okay, if we have a good inner seed, we have favorable condition, we're gonna experience life that is desirable. And the good inner seed is our inner awareness. To become aware of this true self, to become aware of our core being that has the power to be balanced, that it became a simple matter to cultivate positive affinity with other people. Right? If we're negative, it's going to be hard to cultivate positive affinity with people. Right? If we're angry and sad and resentful and ungrateful, it's going to be hard to attract people. But if we're balanced, then we can initiate positivity and attract people. And if we have good inner state, if we have positive affinity with people, it is a simple matter to get a life that is positive and desirable. So begin with our true self. Begin with a state of emptiness and balance. Call the truth within us, our true nature. Okay? And that brings us to the character of authenticity, which is what those of us who have been studying the philosophy on the inner being. Okay, last week we've been talking about wisdom, we talked about attitude, and we are beginning to talk about character. We talk about belief, right? We talk about simplicity, and as we discuss the nature of the true nature within us, we will find that if we can maintain a state of balance, then what that happens is that we will begin to materialize externally as a character of authenticity. Okay? Because a person who can express his authenticity is a person who always know that they are hearing, know that they are seeing, know that they are speaking, and know that they are knowing. Unattached to what they know, unattached to what they see, without the positive or negative judgment in it. Okay? When you speak to a person and they speak to us and they are not attached to a positive or negative opinion, if what they say and the way they express themselves, the way they think, the way they behave is not attached to a positive or negative polarity, then we can sense that person as somebody who is authentic. They just say what they know. They just behave and do what they know, and do what they say, and they say what they do. Okay, authenticity. Okay, let me just quickly write that down. Character of authenticity. Okay, a person who embodies the character of authenticity is someone who knows what they're seeing, know what they're hearing, know what they're speaking, and know what they're saying. Let's use this one. No, not know what, cannot know what they're saying. Simply know the hearing. Okay. Know the seeing. Know the speaking. Know the knowing. Okay. When we speak or when we interact with another person, right here we're talking about fullness of awareness, of perception and awareness about people. When we interact with a person who is authentic, we get the sense that they are hearing, they are seeing, they are speaking, and they are knowing authentically. That is not that what they are hearing and seeing, what and saying and knowing is not attached or entangled. It is not entangled by a positive emotion, that is not entangled by a negative mindset. They are unattached from the positive or negative polarity of the emotion and the mind. Okay, so let's do this one. Unattached to positive or negative polarity of emotion and the mind. Okay, so when we are interacting with a person and we get the sense that they are not attached or entangled by positive or negative polarity of emotion in the mind. They're not opinionated one way or another. The mindset is not positive or negative. Then we get the sense that what they are saying is authentic. And if what they are saying is authentic, do we feel safe? Do we trust the person? Right? Yeah. When we are communicating and interacting with a person that we sense that they are authentic, then we can trust them. Then we can feel safe with them. If they are hearing authentically, then we can trust that what we say is safe with them. We don't fear judgment because they're hearing authentically. They're hearing with their truth. Okay, they're hearing with their true hearing. They are not attaching a positive or negative emotion or judgment in what they are hearing. They are hearing authentically. They're hearing with their true nature, with their true hearing. Then when we speak, we can rest assured that we will not be judged. And because we can rest assured that we are not judged, we feel safe. And we can also feel safe to be authentic as well. The character of authenticity is a person who embodies the true nature and express it through the true hearing, true seeing, true speaking, and true knowing. And in order to do that, that person has to be consciously aware that they are hearing, that they are seeing, that they are speaking, and that they are knowing. They're not attached to what they hear or what they see. They only know that they hear and they see. Okay? And at the same time, we can trust that person to be a person of integrity. Okay, we're talking about integrity and virtue. We can trust that person to be a person of integrity, which is a person who exhibit a certain virtue and quality. One of them is a quality of accountability. That person will do what they say and say what they do. They will do what they say and they say what they do. Will talk the talk and walk the walk. All because they just know that they're hearing, know that they're seeing, know they're speaking, and know they're knowing. Unattached to the positive or negative polarity of the emotion and the mind. Over time, when we talk to them, we notice that they don't think much. They don't have to think much. Because when thinking is our mind, and then it goes, they analyze, they distinguish, they judge, they go positive and go negative. Okay? And when they look at you, they're seeing, okay? They're seeing. They see authentically. They see us authentically. They do not see us through the lens of opinion or any preconceived notion or prejudice. They see us as we truly are. That's the power of a person who knows that they are seeing. They are not attached to any preconceived notion of who we are. A person of authenticity who knows that they're seeing, they will see our true self. And that means we can afford to be ourselves. We can afford to express ourselves. And if a person can give us the opportunity to express ourselves, well, essentially, that person is a loving person. Because those of you who have learned a study in my class on the inner being, one of the definition of love is to provide for the need for self-expression. The need for self-expression. When we speak to a person of authenticity and they are seeing us as our true self, as they are hearing us with their true hearing, then we can be safe to express ourselves without fearing condemnation, without fearing judgment, without fearing criticism. Then we are free to express ourselves. And if we are free to express ourselves, that means the person is expressing their love for us. So when we are speaking to a person of authenticity, we are receiving their love. And if we can express our own authenticity with other person, with our children, for example, when we listen to them, we listen with our true hearing. We're not attached to what they say. We are simply noticing the fact that we are hearing. The already always hearing is always there. And when we look at our children, we're not attached to what we're seeing physically. We simply know that we're seeing. And we open up a space for our children to fully express themselves. And they will experience us as a parent who love them. Do you get this part? So chị Kiều Anh, if you're still on the camera, if before we started, when you think about your son, you have a negative inner state. Okay? In order to get out of the negative inner state, just go back to your true self. Just notice that we are already always hearing, we are already always seeing. So when we think about our son and our children or any situation, we say, okay, I'm hearing, I'm seeing. That's it. He is who he is. And we become unattached, untangled by our positive or negative polarity of the emotions and the mind. We detach from our desire and imagination for that person, and we go back to the state of balance and emptiness. And when we interact with another person, your son in this case, if you can interact with them with your authenticity, just know that you're hearing, know that you're saying. And if our son is speaking, know that he is speaking authentically, and we speak to them without judgment. We speak authentically, without judging, without opinion. Then he will get that we are authentic with him. He will feel that we are giving him space to express himself. And he will feel that we love him. That is a person of authenticity. And authenticity is built upon the foundation of emptiness of being, the foundation of the true nature of human being. Okay?
Easy, but uneasy.
Uh,
Um, I think so. When we learn, I still in the environment of WIT until I recognize the character of authenticity.
mm-hmm,
But actually, in a human being, right? It's not so easy to
mm-hmm,
get the
mm-hmm,
authenticity. But actually, um, I I am not angry with anyone now, but still the feeling, emotion still up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. It's normal at one human being. Learning letter, right? Easy to manage what we, what emotion appear. But if people don't learn, they will live like a manner, not character. That means the people who learn, right? They are able to manage the emotion. You know, I do meditation every morning for calming my heart, my soul before working. But life, if you face many problems in the life, but look problem with a lotus, right? Life easier to function. Saying one thing, but practicing another thing,
mm-hmm.
right?
when you meditate in the morning, well, you notice
Right,
that you go to a state of
right,
balance. You're meditating, right?
right.
When you're meditating in the morning, you know you're seeing, you're speaking, you go back to your true self, and you're in a state of balance, and you feel peace, right? But the moment we stop meditating, we fall into the sea of emotion and the mind, and we fall into positive or negative inner state. Okay, and we fall into unawareness. But it's okay. All we gotta do is go back to a state of meditation, in action, in words, in thought. Instead of sitting and focusing on emptiness, we can actually do that at work. We can do that while talking to another person. We can do that while thinking about problem. How? Know that I'm hearing, know that I'm seeing, know that I'm speaking, and know that I'm knowing. Know that I'm thinking. So at any moment in our day, we can go back to the state of balance. We can meditate while working. We can meditate while driving. Not sitting down and closing our eyes, but just to come back to that state of balance, knowing and recognizing our true nature. It is called mindfulness. Okay, so I'll just write that word down. It's called mindfulness. Okay, it is not being full of your mind. Okay. Our mind is always thinking. It is not about being full of thinking mind. No, the idea of mindfulness is to be in the present moment. Okay, to know that we're seeing, know that we're speaking, know that we're hearing. Okay, mindfulness. Just to go back to that state of emptiness and just focusing on the hearing, the already, always, right? We come back to the awareness that we are already, always hearing, okay? That we are already, always seeing, that we are already, always speaking and knowing. Everything around us can change. The people in front of change. The message that we receive change. The day change. They're constantly changing. But we just become aware of the already, always hearing, already, always seeing. And then we experience an emptiness that is highly balanced. And so we don't actually have to manage our emotion. Okay? Earlier on, you mentioned the word manage. You mentioned about managing our emotion, right? Going from negative to positive. That's what a lot of psychology try to help us to do. And that's fine. Therapy. Has anybody ever been to psychotherapy, psychological counseling? They teach us to manage our emotion, manage our thought. Don't even bother managing it, because that takes a lot of work. Trying to go from negative to positive. That's hard work. Don't bother. Just notice the hearing and the seeing. Just know that we are already, always listening, hearing, and seeing. And when we just notice that, okay, oh well, okay, I'm hearing and I'm seeing. See if we can extend that state of being for a while. And when we achieve a state of balance from simply knowing that we're hearing and knowing that we're seeing, then the next thought we can choose positive. We can choose to cultivate favorable source concept. If previously we have an negative inner state about another person, then we can start to choose positive source concept about them. You can start to create positive mental image about them. Find the good with that person and be grateful for that. You see the power of being balanced. Don't bother managing. Just go balance. Just go back to emptiness. Just go back to already, always hearing and seeing. Go back to our true self. And from the foundation of emptiness and foundation of balance, the foundation of the will to hear, the will to see, the will to speak, and the will to know, everything else comes very simple. We can go positive only when we have started from the foundation of balance. Did you get that part? Anybody get that part? The lesson for today, if you remember anything, okay, if you remember anything from this lesson, it's the one idea. If the truth is something that does not change over space and time. And human being, we have that truth as the truth of our nature. And all we gotta do to grasp that truth is to become aware that we have this already, always seeing and hearing. And at any moment in time, we can take refuge in that already, always hearing and seeing, and we will reach a state of balance. And from that state of balance, when we're not being weighed down by negativity, right? No more negativity, we're balanced. Then it's a simple act of changing our thought and our behavior to be positive. And when our thoughts and behavior are positive, then our outcome in life will also be positive. So I hope you have come to a fullness of awareness about awareness, and fullness of awareness about our true nature as human being. This is the most precious thing that human being have. Everything else we can lose. Our house we can lose, our fortune we can lose, our relationship we can lose. They go positive and they go negative. But this most precious thing, which is the truth within us, we always have it. Forever and ever. We already have it. We will continue to have it. At any time, we can take refuge in it. We protect ourselves. We save other people simply by returning to that will to hear, will to see, will to speak, and will to know. I'm very grateful for you guys taking the time to join us in the Zoom. I had some people, especially Chị Nga, are you able to share some of your lessons and insight? How about Ron? Did you get anything new? I know you've gone through this material already, but did you get anything new today? Any new insight that you can apply? Any new realization?
For me, with doing the exercise we do every morning, it puts me in a more balanced inner state. I mean, throughout the day too, like it feels good. It's hard to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, but once I'm up, it's good. Puts me in a balanced state.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much for that. I'm very grateful that you do spend the morning with me, okay? And I'm also honored by your participation in the mental aspect of this philosophy in the evening as well, okay? What about Chị Nga? Thank you so much, Chị Nga, for having your camera on. Okay, I see you. Okay, I see you. And I also know that I am seeing, and I am doing my best to see you authentically. Okay, would you are you able to unmute and share some of your impression today? Did you learn anything today?
Em chào thầy, em chỉ biết nói tiếng Việt thôi thầy ơi.
Ok, ok. Nãy giờ có hiểu gì không?
Dạ thì em cái này là hình như thầy đang nói về nội tâm mà cái vòng tròn tri thức gì ít nghe ít thấy ít nói ít biết.
Dạ đúng rồi.
Có điện từ âm, điện từ dương và điện từ cân bằng thì em chỉ hiểu nôm na là vậy thôi chứ em không có hiểu tiếng Anh lắm. Nhưng mà em thích em thích được nghe tiếng Anh.
Okay, okay, okay. Vậy tốt. Không hiểu còn tốt nữa, biết sao không? It's better that you don't understand anything because if you understand, that means that you're hearing something. Hiểu tức là mình đang nghe cái gì đó, mình biết mình đang nghe cái gì đó, mà cái gì đó thì nó lại là cái, nó đã là cái nó là cái gì, cái tánh rồi, cái tánh phân tích phân biệt rồi. Không hiểu thì nó còn ngon hơn nữa. Mình chỉ cần biết mình nghe chỉ cần biết mình nghe, biết mình thấy thì mình sẽ nhận được cái sự chân thật này, nó còn dễ đơn giản hơn nữa, đúng không?
Dạ. Thì
Fun.
Đó.
cái này
It's fun.
nói hay nói viết được bao bọc bởi điện từ quang và à, trong này em thấy có điện từ âm dương và điện từ cân bằng gì đó thì thôi
Okay, okay. Yeah.
dạ
Okay. So I basically told Miss Nga that if you don't understand the English language, that's even better, because to understand meaning to be attached to the mental, the mind, which have positive and negative judgment on it, but to not understand is you can simply know that you hear, know that you see, then you can achieve a state of balance. Okay. Yes, Ron, go ahead.
I
em cảm ơn
appreciate that she came in and listened, because at the offline, I was in the same position she is. They spoke all Vietnamese, and yeah, I still got the balanced positive energy from the offline as I do with English.
Yeah, ông Ron này, ông biết ơn chị Nga đã vô Zoom của tụi này, là tại vì cái tình huống của chị Nga nó y chang như cái tình huống của ông Ron khi mà ông tham gia cái khóa nội tâm offline. Ông là người Tây, ông tham gia khóa nội tâm, người ta nói tiếng Việt không, ông đâu biết gì đâu, nhưng mà ông chỉ biết mình đang nghe, biết mình đang thấy. Ok.
em nay em ở Telegram với thầy để em tìm cái e-quiz tiếng Anh, nhưng mà em tìm em lại không thấy, nhưng mà em thấy cái Zoom này thấy ở bên Mỹ thấy 6 giờ nhưng mà ở Việt Nam thì 8 giờ, nhưng mà lúc em vô là hơn 9 giờ rồi, nhưng mà em vẫn muốn thích nghe tiếng Anh cho nên là em bật lên em nghe vậy.
Okay, yeah. So
Dạ.
I shared the link in the English class, and Miss On here is a student in the English class. She was looking for the English class and somehow found our link and joined our Zoom, and she enjoys hearing the English language. Either way, rất là biết ơn chị Nga. Ok. Chị có thể tái tạo công đức phước đức bằng cách mời những người khác vô Zoom okay, để ôn tập tiếng Anh. Ok. Mỗi sáng thứ năm, ok, mỗi sáng thứ năm là tụi này chia sẻ bằng tiếng Anh. Ok, nếu mà
Dạ.
chị ghi nhận trong cái thời khóa biểu của chị, để mỗi sáng thứ năm 8 giờ là mình chia sẻ bằng tiếng Anh. Rồi
dạ.
mỗi chiều
Vẫn vô bằng cái đường link này thầy ha.
dạ, cũng có đường link y chang này, chị lưu lại cái đường link lại là lúc nào cũng có hết đấy. Rồi mỗi
Dạ.
chiều đó là mình tập thay gân đổi cốt lúc 6 giờ. Ngày thường đó, ngày từ thứ hai cho tới thứ sáu, thứ hai thứ sáu là mình tập thay gân đổi cốt, và mình cũng nói chuyện bằng tiếng Anh luôn. Ok, nên nếu chị mà muốn huân tập về sức khỏe bằng tiếng Anh thì nhào vô luôn. Ok.
Dạ. 6 giờ chiều hả thầy? Từ thứ
6
hai
giờ
tới
chiều
thứ
thì mình tập thể dục. Còn sáng thứ năm thì mình học về tinh thần. Ok, mình học nội tâm.
Em cảm ơn thầy,
Nhưng
em
mà
biết ơn.
nếu Nga muốn ôn tập để nghe, để listen của thầy mà perfect hơn á, thì nếu Nga vào cái 24 giờ của cô Trang á, tức là ngày nào cô cũng dạy từ 9 giờ đến 11 giờ, vừa tiếng
Cô
Việt
dạy,
vừa
dạy
tiếng
song
Anh.
ngữ nữa. Cô dạy song ngữ nữa.
Dạ, cô dạy
Có
song
tiếng
ngữ.
Anh, có tiếng Việt, có tiếng
Nên
Anh, có tiếng Việt, có tiếng Anh.
cho nên ví dụ như chưa hiểu là nghe qua tiếng Việt thì cũng như là mỗi người một cái accent khác nhau, nhưng mà à, chưa nói được á là đi 20 ngày nào cô cũng vào ấy. Ở đây cái room này thì mỗi tuần có một cái năm, cho nên nếu Nga vào quay của cô cái rồi thứ năm vào đây
cô
rồi
cô cô chọn
nghe
cái Zoom của
24 giờ, đúng rồi, để xin cô bắt à, Nga vào nha.
dạ ok
để,
cảm ơn.
để sáng nào cũng 9 giờ ấy, thì qua thứ năm là Nga của thầy còn bằng English ấy, cho nó dễ Nói vậy
Let
dạ.
me
Nghe.
let me
Vân
they
vậy
mình
nói.
yeah, let me put the link to Miss Ann Trang's group. Let me
Dạ.
see if I can get the link to Miss Ann Trang's group. I'll post it on this let's see if I can get the link. How do I get the link?
24, 24 giờ
Okay.
thôi.
Okay. Đây, I got it. Okay, để mình copy paste vô cái khung chat nha.
Dạ.
So
Em
you
biết ơn
Dạ.
cả
yeah.
nhà. Dạ em xin
Okay.
chào ạ.
So that link, click on that link.
24 giờ toàn diện á.
Okay, you click on that link,
Yeah.
you will go to Miss Ann Chang's 24-hour
Yeah,
whole
perfect.
being.
Toàn diện.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we were able to connect Miss Bùi Thị Nga to a resource, a wonderful resource, a bilingual resource. Okay. Thank you so much for chị Kiều Anh. You are a nhân mạch.
Fine.
Nhân mạch is a value connector, a person who connect other people to things of value.
Actually, I want to learn English to know all the word vocabulary in inner being, so
Okay.
that I can share this knowledge to another language, because I'm a Spanish guy. So from this information, I can interpret from English to Spanish easier than Vietnamese to Spanish. The reason why English and Spanish is the same alphabet, that's been from Latin. So the word in Spanish and start a lot from in English. Is the reason why I would like to learn this knowledge in English, and I would like to have one study word, the international word from English, because after teacher, every word, of course, right? One meaning to have many words, but one word so many meaning, depend on concept. Right?
Exactly.
But I would like to have the international one, easy, right, to transfer, right, the knowledge to the area, to the global, who just know more, who just interested in more science than inner being. Thank you for your listening, and for your big heart to hear me from my wishes.
So is your inner
Thank you,
state
class.
more balanced now?
I am original character of mine and hot temper. Why hot temper? The reason why hot temper, one person appear, the character, right, appear depend on many elements. Food, character apparent at the beginning when we, right, started appear, right, and then the politics, the education, so many reasons to create one characters, right? Education, politics, environment, food, weather, climate create one human being. So the reason why the foreigner, they have very different character from us, but Asian people different, so different. So I have opportunity to keep in touch, to contact, and to speak, to talk every day with too many countries, right, all over the world. And they are very different from Asia, especially very different from Vietnamese. So when I learn this knowledge, I make the harmony between two. So I work for 30 years. I have worked for 30 years in English guide and Spanish guide. But I learned from their right culture. But I don't put right their culture 100% in our culture. Because our culture, Vietnamese culture, have very different gain from them. That's the reason why learning this knowledge, I feel to have gratitude to the organization WIT. I am grateful to all the volunteer, the teacher, mentor to transfer all the information, repeat, right, every day, right, in my mind. That's in my heart. Thank you very much.
Yeah. It is traditional to think of who we are as a human being as a product of external circumstances. It is traditional to think that who we are as human being is a product or an outcome of different culture, different languages, different experience of how we are brought up, what we are taught. Okay, and that's nothing wrong with that. But that is a perspective from the outside in. We cannot control the thing that is outside. We cannot control what other people do to us. We cannot control what country we are born in. Right? So there is really it is impossible to master human life and experience when we take the approach of being, of our outcome in life having the root of outside thing. In this philosophy, we take the opposite. In this philosophy, we say that the root cause of our life is from the inside out, from our inner awareness about ourselves and about other people. And it is the inner awareness that will actually give us the external reality. So what we know, what we feel, our life situation, our finance, our relationship, our educational background. In this philosophy, we say that all of that comes from within first. It actually come from our inner awareness about ourselves. In the subsequent sharing episode, we'll go into detail about what that means when we talk about causality in its totality. That where we are today is an outcome of ourselves, not because of external circumstances. It'll be an interesting perspective to be able to shift that and to take full responsibility of our outcome, knowing that it is the seed within us, our own awareness, that give us the outcome that we have today. Okay, whereas it is very common to think that we are made up of the circumstances externally, but it is something very different to take full and complete responsibility for our outcome in life with the awareness that our inner seed is within us. Okay, so our life situation, our education, our financial status, our health relationship, all of that, according to this philosophy, comes from the seed within us. It is our inner awareness about ourselves and about other people that give us the external reality that we are experiencing today. I'll leave that thought with you. And then in subsequent sharing, we'll go into more details. Okay. Next week, next week, because it's getting close to my my exam, next week I'll probably speak about the fullness of awareness about money. Money, finance, material, and things like investment. Okay. Part of my graduation for the master course is to be able to share the ideas about the human, fullness of awareness about human being, as well as fullness of awareness about finance and investment, as well as a fullness of awareness about the inner being. Okay, with the inner being stuff we've been doing for 2 years, so I more or less met a certain requirement. Today we went into depth about awareness about human being. Next week, I will share a little bit about finance and money. Okay, we all use money. Okay, it'll be a
Thank you
good
very
idea.
much.
Good
Yeah, thank
understand.
you very much for
And
your
then I think,
patience with us.
yeah, and then we'll go back to understanding human being after I talk a little bit about the finance. Okay, that is an exciting topic for me, and to understand human being. Okay. Once again, thank you so much for your sharing. You are a very knowledgeable person. It seems that you have a lot of life experience, and I look forward to more interaction. Okay, I hope to see you again next Thursday. Okay, thank you so much,
Thank you very much.
everybody. Happy
Bye
birthday to you,
Happy
and
birthday.
let's give
Yeah,
us
thank you.
we'll give it.
Thank
There
you
we
very
go.
much. Yeah, bye.
And congratulations on being 20 years old. Okay, as I see you. Oh, she's gone. She left. Okay, anyway. Oh, she's still there. Yeah. So as I
Yeah,
see
thank you
you,
very much.
I see you getting
Thank you, Master.
younger and healthier,
Yeah, thank you.
happier, and happy
Yeah,
with
bye,
20.
appreciate. Thank you
Okay.
very much. Yeah,
And real 20th birthday, not fake 20th birthday. Some people
yeah,
go into
yeah.
chair and
I
say,
might love
my
myself
age
first.
is
Right?
50, but my wit age is 20. Well, what they're saying is that my fake age is 20. No, your real age.
Right. Thank you, teacher. Thank you, classic.
Wit age is 20. My
Right.
real age is 20.
Yeah,
Okay, you guys take care, okay? Have a
right.
wonderful
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you everyone.
Yeah, bye bye, Ji Hoài.
Thank you. Right, thank you.